Good afternoon on this wonderful, beautiful day in eastern Kentucky. As chairman of the Board of Trustees of the University of Pikeville, it is my pleasure on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire University of Pikeville family to welcome you here this afternoon. A few years ago, I remember, some of y'all may have heard this story, so I may bore you with it again, but a few years ago, I remember getting up one Sunday morning and reading the Lexington Herald Leader and there was an article in there about an attorney by the name of Chad Perry that had a dream of building a medical school in eastern Kentucky. And I told my wife, I said, Judy, I think Chad's lost his mind. A few days later, Berlin Coleman, Bill Sturgill, Bill Owens, and myself were venturing down to Paintsville to meet with some people to talk about moving that medical school to the then Pikeville College, now the University of Pikeville. Absolutely amazing things have happened in these years. God put Paul Patton in the governor's mansion at the time, and Hal Rogers in his office, and an awful lot of people that gave that made this day possible. The dream that was Chad Perry's that sits in front of you today, Judy, I hope he looks down on and enjoys and likes what he sees. Thank you, Judy. The gem of Eastern Kentucky sits in front of you today. I believe that the University of Pikeville is the single most important entity that exists east of Lexington in Eastern Kentucky. It will service and be the jewel of this region for years beyond any of us that are here today. Past the time that coal is gone, and I hope the trees and the timber are still here, but it will continue to help and refurbish and rebuild and make the hills of Eastern Kentucky green. I thank you all for coming here today. I thank you for being part of this today. I hope you realize how important a day this is to this community. Thank you very much. I now will introduce William Baird, our Vice Chairman of the Board, to offer our blessing. Thank you.
Let us take a moment and bow for prayer. Our Lord and our God, we humbly come before you today, thanking and praising you for long ago establishing this university through your faithful servants. As we look into these hills, we acknowledge that our help and our strength comes from you. We thank you for all those who have gone before us, whom you use to continue the mission of this university, and for those you will use to do so in the years to come. We are especially grateful today for the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine and for those whom you used to establish it, and for this new Cole building. As we thank you for and celebrate the dedication of the Cole building, we would ask for your continued blessing on this building, its use, and on all those who come here to administer, to teach, to learn. We would also dedicate and consecrate ourselves to carry on your ministry of healing in this place. We pray your blessing on all that are here today and on the rest of this ceremony and this day. And I pray these things now in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Patton, President of the University of Pikeville. Voice is a little raspy, recovering from a little bronchitis, so please excuse my hoarseness. But let me add my welcome to that of Chairman Dodson. The dedication of the Cole building is one of the most important events in the history of the University of Pikeville. We're assembled here today to launch a new chapter in the life of this institution. This new $40 million Cole building will house the University of Pikeville's Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, a state-of-the-art medical facility and a modern cafeteria which will serve the entire university community. It's changed the skyline of the city of Pikeville, and it'll change health care in central Appalachia. We're pleased that you're here with us today to help celebrate this very momentous occasion. There are literally hundreds of people who've helped make this day possible, and I can't possibly mention all of them. But there are some people and companies whose contribution absolutely has to be mentioned. 3 years ago, when I became the president of the then Pikeville College, the medical school had plans to remodel the first floor of the Spillman Staff and Faculty Housing Building to accommodate a clinical skills training facility which the school badly needed. The estimated cost was $1.5 million. And a $500,000 grant from the James Graham Brown Foundation of Louisville had already been secured. I don't think they're represented here today because they're a little bit shy from publicity, but I think we should give credit where credit is due. And without that initial grant, this project would never have gotten off the ground. Shortly thereafter, Stephen Governor approved a $500,000 grant from Appalachian Regional Commission. He's in India today looking for jobs, including jobs for coal miners. He can't be here, but he is represented by Ben Hale, his Appalachian Development Coordinator. Ben, thank you, and pass our thanks to the governor, okay? Over the next year, this project morphed into the building you see today. An awful lot of people worked together to get us where we are today. What really made it possible was a $29 million low-interest stimulus loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Rural Development Administration. This loan will have an interest rate of less than 4% with the payback over 40 years. My friend Tom Fern, the director of the Rural Development in Kentucky, helped us get that loan approved. He's not with us today. I thank Tom. He is represented by Vernon Brown of the Rural Development Administration. Vernon, thank you for being here. After that loan was committed, the additional equipment and the enlargement of the cafeteria and some other issues caused the cost to go up. So we had to look for some more money. Jeff Speaks, and I don't know where Jeff's here today or not, but Jeff Speaks, he's a good friend of Congressman Rogers, suggested that this building would be eligible for new market tax credits. The goal of the new market tax credit program is to stimulate development in underserved areas by allowing investors to take tax credits on projects constructed in those areas. That program has contributed close to $7 million to this project. I want to thank Jim Stifer and Stites and Harbison Law Firm, and I don't think they are here either, for helping put the new market tax credit program together using tax credits allocated to 5 different community development banks from many parts of the country. One of those banks, Community Affordable Housing Equity Corporation, I think is represented here today by Brian Oxford. Brian, are you here? Thank you, Brian. Thank you, sir. I don't think any of those other banks are represented. If they are, well, let me know. Perhaps the most important part of this project is the close to $5 million contributed by companies and individuals who have a particular interest in seeing this school continue to give the students of this area a better opportunity to become doctors, so citizens of this area can have better health care. Much of that was contributed by people connected to the coal industry. And I'm going to ask Jim Booth to talk about that in a minute. Put it all together, we've been able to finance a $40 million building, which will serve this university and this region beyond our lifetime. And we're able to do it without raising the tuition of the medical school beyond the ordinary increases in inflation. I also want to thank our local governments, Mayor Frank Justice, City Manager Donovan Blackburn, and the Pikeville City Commission, and Judge Wayne Rutherford and the Pike County Fiscal Court for their support for this project and for the university in so many other ways. Our state legislators have always supported us, and I want to acknowledge their contribution. Senator Ray Jones, Representative Leslie Combs, W. Keith Hall, and Hubie Collins. They support coal, and they support UPike. And to our congressional delegations, Senator Ron Paul, and I think, and he's represented by Chris Musgrave here. Chris? Chris, thank you, sir. Senator McConnell is represented by Donna McClure. Donna? I think she's here somewhere. And especially to our Congressman, Hal Rogers. Hal, I thank you for the many things that you do for us, especially the support this facility has received from our federal government. Congressman Rogers, thank you for your presence here today and your support for the University of Pikeville. You understand the importance of government. You understand the need to stay in touch with your constituents. You understand the need for education. You understand the need to train Eastern Kentuckians to be doctors and the need for them to be trained here in Eastern Kentucky so they can serve Eastern Kentuckians. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you your Congressman, the Honorable Hal Rogers. Thank you, sir.
Governor, thank you very much for the overly generous introduction. It's wonderful to be with you on this spectacular occasion for Eastern Kentucky, Central Appalachia, all of Kentucky, and all of the eastern half of the U.S., because that's the service area of this terrific school that we are dedicating today, this building. When I joined you for the groundbreaking less than 2 years ago, the Cole building was just a drawing. U-Pike was still Pikeville College, and this school was called the Pikeville College School of Osteopathic Medicine. What a difference about 18 months or less makes. I thought when we were talking about a medical school in the mountains several years ago, I pledged my help and support, but I thought we would never rest under the shade of the tree that we were planting at that time, that would be for future generations. But I didn't count on the tenacity and the vitality and the imagination of the governor and all of you who've taken part in this activity. It's been an amazing journey. Today, this impressive $34 million facility becomes the home of an award-winning program, ranked 12th among all medical schools in the nation by the U.S. News and World Report's 2013 edition of Best Graduate Schools. 12th in the nation. 64 new physicians just graduated in May from the institution's new name, KYCOM, and just an hour and a half ago, the class of 2016 received their white coats. And the program has already moved from its 5th place standing to 2nd place in the percentage of graduates who enter primary care. Wow. Congratulations. As you recollect, little more than a decade ago, the idea of a medical school in the hills was nothing more than just a vision. In the early planning stages, Governor Patton, Chad Perry, Berlin Coleman, I was a part of it at the time, recognized the public outcry for better access to health care and the need for more physicians, particularly in Appalachia. Our people had to take a 2 or 3 hour trip for specialized health care needs. State and federal funds were secured. The institution's success, however, was left up to Pikeville College. And the best thing that ever happened to this institution was Governor Patton's decision to come out of retirement to lead the way. I recollect when he was governor, he had me visit the campus here, and we were obviously talking about money. And he wanted to build a convention facility and a garage to accommodate the downtown traffic. We were standing up there at that balcony for having a smoke. And I told him, Governor, I cannot find a place to find money for a convention center. However, there may be money for parking, a garage. So we made a deal. I said, I'll get the money for the garage, you get the money for the center. And I'm proud that you're sitting in the shade of the most beautiful garage in Kentucky. U-Pike, of course, has grown by leaps and bounds under Governor Patton's direction, and today an award-winning medical program is moving into this impressive, astounding new facility. I also want to take a moment to recognize one of the driving forces behind this school, its first dean, the late Dr. John Strasnider. He knocked on doors, he sat in waiting rooms to learn about the needs in our region, served as a diligent fundraiser for this program, and I think Dr. Stroh is shining down today on this wonderful occasion. You know, sitting in the heart of coal country, you've given such a tribute to the industry that is the livelihood of so many of our neighbors and friends by naming this facility the Coal Building. There are no protesters here. There may be somewhere else in the state when you mention the word coal, but not in Pike County, not in eastern Kentucky, not in my district. Coal is the bedrock of Kentucky, foundation for our region's better living. The industry's done more than put food on the table for thousands of families. It's opened new doors of opportunity over the years by giving back to our region, creating flat land so we can build the facilities we need, providing the economic engine for growth across the entire Commonwealth. CHICOM, the new name here, another example, and a great one, of how we've all worked together to transform our region over these last 30 years. People said our water and hillsides were filthy, and they were. We cleaned them up. They said the threat of flooding was too great. We built dams, levees, tunnels, cut-throughs, raised homes, resettled communities out of the floodplain. People said we were too far away for business. We built roads. We took advantage of new technology and the internet. People said the region was drug infested, like the rest of the country. So we put pill pushers in jail, and we're helping our neighbors get treatment, and we're solving our problem. People said they couldn't get access to good health care. Today you proved them wrong. It's a great source of pleasure for me to have been a small part of this effort, which has been led by some of your most energetic leaders over these years. Some we've mentioned, others we've not. So many of you have been a part of this, but I'm proud to have been a small part. Look forward to working with Governor Patton President-elect James Hurley, and you, Pike, on many more projects. Congratulations to you. Godspeed.
Thank you, Al. We appreciate the help of our government, but the government can't do it alone. We are in America where individuals step up and do whatever it takes to make our communities better. And there's no better example of private individuals and companies stepping up than what the coal industry has done to support this project, which will improve the health of our neighbors for generations to come. Just like 15 years ago, Terry Dodson, when this thing started and we traveled the country, raised over $15 million, much of it from the coal industry, to start this medical school. The coal industry has sustained this region and this university, and we appreciate it. For that reason, the Board of Trustees has named this building the Coal Building in honor of that industry and the coal miners who are the backbone of our society. Many people and companies have made significant contributions to this project, but the coal industry in particular has been extremely generous during an extremely difficult economic struggle. Most major contributors for the coal industry are honored in the hallway on the 5th floor leading to the cafeteria and the elevators. But in addition to the display of our appreciation in a very prominent place on the campus, we want to present these very special people and companies with a certificate of acknowledgement of their gift, which they can display in their home or their office. Two of these special people are Jim and Linda Booth. Jim has been on the board of the University of Pikeville for about 10 years and provides helpful leadership to the institution, and he took the lead in getting the coal industry supporters to help with this project. Booth Energy is a major coal producer in Kentucky and West Virginia, but Jim Booth is more than a coal operator. He's an entrepreneur and a civic leader. There are few good things going on in Eastern Kentucky that Jim's not involved in. In fact, he's involved in many statewide projects. Jim Booth is the most impressive example I know of what a well-educated Eastern Kentuckian can accomplish with hard work and perseverance. I want to present Jim with a certificate of appreciation to Booth Energy and then ask him to tell you about some of the other major coal industry supporters who helped with this project and present certificates to those who are present. Jim? Which one have I got here?
It's over there.
All right, here it is. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Governor, thank you so much. It's truly a pleasure for me to be here this evening for the dedication of the U Pike Coal Building. I'm overwhelmed when I think about the collaboration that we have accomplished in bringing this project to fruition. I'd like to read a quote from Sir Isaac Newton. "If I have seen farther than others, it may be by standing upon the shoulders of giants." I just want to say that on this platform today, we are surrounded by an array of giants. This group of gentlemen that will speak with you today, and those of whom I am about to introduce to you, are the very essence of leadership, dedication, and commitment. I want to introduce to you some of my friends that I have truly made a difference in the lives of our people and the recent developments at this university. First, I want to introduce to you Joe Kraft. Joe is the president and CEO of Alliance Resources Partners. It is headquartered in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Joe is originally from Hazard, Kentucky, and he now resides in Lexington. Alliance produces and ships over 33 million tons and generates over $2 billion in operating revenue. Joe has a team that is led by Dr. Raymond Wells, who is a local physician from this area, that are innovators in the health and wellness of their workforce and in the health and wellness of the community. So, Joe, we're really pleased that you're bringing good health care to your employees that live in this region. Joe is a very strong advocate of the region, of course, and he's contributed greatly to Eastern Kentucky. But recently, Joe has helped us name another coal building, the Wildcat Coal Lodge. It's a signature project that Joe has supported and is recently opened on the campus of UK. And it is very nice that we were able to name our building after coal as well. Joe, thank you for your support, and if you would come forward, I'd like to present you with a plaque. Sorry that John Eves is not able to attend today. He definitely had planned to be here. John is a Kentucky native also. He's from Western Kentucky. John is the president and CEO of Arch Coal. It's headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. Arch produces over 150 million tons of coal annually with an annual revenue of over $4 billion. This building has been very special to John. I've had conversation with him, and he is truly excited for us that we're able to do this here in Pikeville. Next is that I'd like to introduce, Nick Carter is not able to be here today either, but Nick did contribute and is very pleased to bring this facility to us here in Pike County. His company is NRP, Natural Resource Partners. It is a Houston-based company. Nick works out of Huntington, West Virginia. His company controls over 2 billion tons of reserve, and nearly 25% of that is met coal. So thanks to Nick for his help. We do have Lynn Parrish with us today, and Lynn has been in the coal business for a long time, but Lynn is one of the smart ones. He sold his company when President Obama was elected. Lynn's a good friend of mine, and he is currently serving on the Kentucky Chamber Board with me, and I appreciate Lynn for doing that. He also serves on the Community Trust Board here in Pikeville. Lynn, if you'd come forward, I'd like to present you with a plaque. And Jessica, I'm sorry, Jessica. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Greg Pauley. Greg is the president of American Electric Power. He's been a strong partner to the coal industry. AEP is committed to improving the communities in which we live and in which they serve. AEP is one of the largest electric utilities in the United States. They deliver electricity to over 5 million customers in 11 states. Greg's a very strong supporter of UPike and this coal building, and we really appreciate his efforts in helping us make this successful. Greg, would you come forward, please? Greg, just one thing I'd like to add. Remember, it's coal that keeps the lights on. I remember. Next is Terry Dotson. Terry is president and CEO of Worldwide Equipment, the truck people. Terry was raised in Pike County, and he graduated from Pikeville College in 1972. He's presently the chairman of the board here. Worldwide has operations of 35 locations across 6 states. Terry has really grown that company. He was very instrumental in Booth Energy getting into the trucking business. Started buying trucks from Terry in the early 90s. And Terry, I promise I'm really not going to hold that against you. Terry is a very strong supporter of this building project and every other project that's ever been done here since he's been around, and he's been here for a long time. So, Terry, thank you for your friendship and your strong support of this fine university. Would you come forward? Thanks to everyone that has helped make this building a reality. Our fundraising efforts are not finished, so I'm forewarning all of the other coal operators. The Gov, James, and I are coming to see you.
Thank you, Jim. And of course, these are not the only contributors to this building. Many rooms, laboratories, and offices are named after donors of all sizes. So be sure to look at some of these names as you tour the building. And if you run into some of them, tell them that you saw where they helped build the coal building, and you appreciate it. We thank each of our donors, large and small, for your contribution and for your understanding that any small, non-state supported university needs the generosity of citizens who have prospered and want to share that prosperity with the next generation if it's going to provide its students with a quality college education at affordable price. And because of your generosity, the University of Pikeville is doing that. There's one donor which I want to acknowledge in a very special way. I told you earlier that this whole project started because we needed a clinical skills facility to teach our students how to examine patients, diagnose their illnesses, and teach the students their bedside manner. You'll find that facility with 10 exam rooms, 3 robots, $2 million worth of equipment on the 4th floor. This is the heart and soul of our unique medical school. The name of that portion of the new facility is the Dr. H. Clinton Bevins Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center. Dr. Bevins was a country doctor practicing on Lord Johns Creek here in Pike County in the early part of the 20th century. His son Bill is a very successful businessman who graduated from Pikeville College in 1938. Bill and his wife Ann have given one of the largest cash gifts this institution has ever received to fund the technology in the state-of-the-art clinical skills facility. Bill and Ann are on the platform, and I want to ask Ann to come forward and accept this acknowledgement of their extreme generosity. Ann? I've got it. I want to acknowledge all the people who support this facility and the medical school. People like Chad Perry and Berlin Coleman and Bill Owens and Hal Smith and John Strohsnyder and Bill Sturgill and a lot of others, too numerous to mention. But I just don't have the time. You know who you are, and we extend our heartfelt thanks. I want to acknowledge the architect of the facility, CMW of Lexington, and the construction manager of the project, Codell Construction Company of Winchester, and all of the men and the women who have built this magnificent structure. I understand that about 278 people worked here on this facility, and hundreds more fabricated parts and performed other services in dozens of other cities. Many of the people who worked on this building are here today. You have every right to be proud of this jewel that you've created, and we thank you. Now, for the main part of the program, one of our greatest assets is our Vice President for Health Affairs and Dean of the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, Dr. Boyd Boozer. The leadership he's provided to the college and to the profession has been extraordinary. I now ask Boyd to say a few words and then introduce our guest speaker, Boyd Boozer.
Thank you, President Patton, and thanks to all of you here today who have joined us on this historic occasion. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the Cole Building. Since our founding, we've been remarkably successful in meeting our mission of producing high-quality osteopathic physicians who practice primary care in rural and underserved areas of Kentucky and Appalachia. This new facility will expand our ability to continue to meet that mission. One of the key features, which President Patton described, is the Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center, which will enhance the instruction of diagnostic and clinical skills for our students. The center will house 12 specially equipped high-tech examination rooms that will serve as a high-quality training ground for our students. The center will utilize standardized patients who are live persons trained to accurately portray specific medical conditions used to enhance the diagnostic and communication skills of our students before they interact with real patients as physicians. These standardized patients help students learn how to take patient medical histories, perform routine examinations, diagnose health conditions, and develop treatment plans. The center will also utilize high-fidelity robotic simulators, which are used to teach more complicated medical and emergency procedures. Faculty will be able to improve the effectiveness of their evaluation of students through observation and testing of the experiences with standardized patients and the simulators. This will enhance our ability to produce medical students who become physicians with a better understanding of patients' needs and a humanistic approach to developing professional, compassionate, and competent relationships with their patients, an approach that will greatly impact their careers, the patients they serve, and health care in our region. I'd like to reiterate our heartfelt thanks to the Bevins family for their support in the development of this key facility. The H. Clinton Bevins Family Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center will also be the home of our free outpatient community clinic, an important instructional and community service facility. The Cole Building houses 2 large lecture halls with state-of-the-art distance learning technology, allowing students and faculty on campus to interact with our 3rd and 4th year students at up to 20 remote locations simultaneously. In addition, the facility contains a gross anatomy lab and research labs, along with faculty, staff, and administrative offices, small group classrooms, ample student study space. It will also include the Osteopathic Manipulative Medicine Lab, where students learn to use their hands to diagnose and treat their patients, one of the most distinctive features of osteopathic medicine. Kentucky is already facing a critical physician shortage, which is expected to worsen in the coming years. The Cole Building will expand our ability to help meet the needs of the medically underserved areas of rural Kentucky and Appalachia by increasing the number of osteopathic primary care physicians we will produce. We have kept the promise we made when this school was founded, and we're committed to doing even more in the future. The Cole Building will enable us to meet those lofty goals. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. The American Osteopathic Association installed Ray E. Stowers, D.O., a board-certified family physician from Harrogate, Tennessee, as its 116th president in July of 2012. Dr. Stowers has been helping to groom future generations of DOs as the Vice President for Health Sciences and founding Dean of the Lincoln Memorial University DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine in Harrogate since it was established in 2005. Prior to joining Lincoln Memorial University, Dr. Stowers was an associate professor of family medicine and director of the Division of Rural Health at the Oklahoma State University Center for Health Sciences College of Osteopathic Medicine in Tulsa. He then served as the founding director of the Oklahoma Rural Health Policy and Research Center. Dr. Stowers is a past president of the Oklahoma Osteopathic Association and a board member of the Tennessee Osteopathic Medical Association. In 2006, he was named Family Physician of the Year by the American College of Osteopathic Family Physicians. Advocating for the osteopathic medical profession at the national level, Dr. Stowers advised Congress on health care issues through his appointment to the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission, better known as MedPAC, and the Physician Payment Review Commission. He was also a policy board member of the National Rural Health Association and still serves as a member of the Rural Health Works National Advisory Council. His contributions to the advancement of the osteopathic medical profession are monumental. For over 2 decades, he has led the fight for the economic well-being of doctors of osteopathic medicine, especially those practicing primary care in rural and underserved areas. He represented the profession at countless meetings with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and crisscrossed the country meeting with and solving osteopathic physician payment problems with the federal and state governments and private payers. In my opinion, no one in the last 50 years has had a greater impact on the success and perception of our profession than Ray E. Stowers, D.O. Dr. Stowers understands the many issues involved in the education and training of young physicians. His background and advocacy for primary care delivery in rural and underserved areas make him uniquely qualified to address us here today. Please welcome the President of the American Osteopathic Association, Ray E. Stowers, D.O.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to make you one promise right up front that my speech is shorter than the introduction. But thank you very much. As you can imagine, as Peggy and I have traveled since becoming president, we've been on the road a lot. And our favorite places to go are to the colleges of osteopathic medicine. We absolutely love it. We love the students. It may just be the dean in me, I don't know. I'm Papa Doc and Peggy is Mama Doc. It's pretty amazing to be here today and be part of this celebration. It's amazing, 15 years ago, and I got to be here, we welcomed the inaugural class in Pikeville under my dear, dear friend, Dr. Stroh, and it's just amazing how much and how far this community has come since then. This dedication of this building today means wonderful things, not only for this community, but for Appalachia, the region, and the country. The namesake, the Cole Building, reminds us of the generous support, absolutely generous support, that's been received from an industry which is absolutely synonymous to this region and community and state. It reminds us, which everything comes back to it, of the school's mission to meet the healthcare needs of those in rural Kentucky and other Appalachian regions. and you've kept your promise. It's been alluded to today. The increasing numbers we've seen in the state over the years since this state opened its doors. This school opened its doors. In 2001, your first graduating class received DO degrees. A total of 12 classes have graduated since then, producing over 700 osteopathic physicians. Think about that. And as you heard before, more than 75% of those are going into primary care. Primary care, good physicians being produced by this school is the answer to the world's healthcare needs as we see it today. We just heard that less than a month ago at the World Health Organization. This school is on track to train the physicians of the future. 2001, there was around 220 active DOs in the state. 2005, that jumped to 350. Now there's over 600 DOs in the Bluegrass State because of the Pikeville College of Osteopathic Medicine. You've kept your promise. You've made a difference to so many. Peggy knows I can't wrap this up without telling a story. But you heard all this other. What I really was is a family physician for 25 years in rural Oklahoma. Only doc in 300 square miles. Fresh out of school, doing everything. And a guy comes in, and out there you can see the storms coming in for miles. Peggy and I have had to adjust for that a little bit. But this guy was carried in by his family. He had hurt his back trying to get his harvest in on his combine. No way to sedate him and put him back on a combine. It was obvious from the weather that everybody was going to lose their crops and their livelihood that evening if they didn't get their harvest finished. I was able, with what I learned in an osteopathic school, to have him walk out of there, get his crop in, and saved his livelihood for his family that year. Guess what? Ended up delivering his daughter that year, delivered his daughter's daughter before I left practice, and took care of his heart attack many years later. That's what it's all about. So we can talk about all of this other, but it's about the people of Appalachia, and that's the reason we're here today. Now, I know that from the graduates that have already come from this school, there are dozens of those stories that I'm sure you could tell me back after a while, and I would love to hear them. But it is so important to not lose fact of the situation, and the truth of this situation is that there are going to be thousands and millions of lives affected and changed by the graduates of this school. There's no doubt that this is going to happen. I know that under the leadership of your Governor Patton and my dear, dear friend Dean Boozer, that this institution will be here, that it will serve the students well, and that you will continue to keep your promise of providing medicine to the mountains. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sowers. And now we're ready to do what we came here to do. After we cut the ribbon, I invite all of you to tour the building. In the ordinary course of operations, much of this building will be off limits to all except CHICOM personnel and students. So this will be your best chance to get a thorough tour and explanation of what is truly a phenomenal structure. On the back of your program is an explanation of the options that you have to begin the tour. Students from the medical school will be your tour guides. As you make the tour, please stay with your guide. During your tour, your guide will give you a very nice commemorative coin as a memento of this very special day. It'll take some time to get all of you through the building. As you wait, there'll be refreshments in the new air-conditioned cafeteria on the 5th floor. There are 2 elevators in Record Memorial and 3 in the Cole Building. There are also vans to ferry you up to Sycamore Street. And of course, you can always walk the 99. Now, contrary to popular rumor that we've taken some of the 99, we didn't take any of the 99, we added to it. There's actually about 109 steps. But all of you all that are feeling will take off. So now, I want the platform party to go across the street. We're going to cut the ribbon. You all follow us. And so, thank you for being here, for your support for the University of Pikeville, the leading university in Central Appalachia. Go Bears, right? All right, you ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3, cut.